And it is about triggers.
Mm-hmm.
How we get triggered on things.
Mm-hmm.
Like listening to a song and it triggers us to go back in time. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you about what does hypnosis work for some people who instantly want to quit smoking or lose weight, but not others. There's got to be something in there we could expand on a little bit.
I would have to say that has to do with parts of ourselves. We've got the part of us that wants to lose weight, the part that doesn't, and other people are just really congruent, and they're, you know, everything lines up, and all of them is ready to lose weight or quit smoking. So if there's an aspect, if someone's not having success, it means that there's a part of them that's not ready or that's trying to protect themselves. And until you have another resource, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy about the timeline, is that we can go back and create new resources and then bring them back into present time, and we can future pace it as well. And then you have a new way of looking at things and experiencing, and new tools.
Well, how about when you're with a client and you have them in under hypnosis, and maybe you're doing a timeline, and your client is expressing themselves in somewhat of a symbolic language. Now, are you helping to define to a certain extent, or is it all about them defining it?
That's a good question. It comes from them. So I ask them what that means, and they give me the information. And because, you know, something that's pink and round, or, you know, it could be just a metaphor of, you know, I don't know, I'm seeing pink and it just feels really warm and fuzzy.
Exactly.
Well, what does that mean to you? You know, or it could mean something else to someone else. So the answers are inside of them. They hold all the wisdom. I'm just helping them. I like to say I'm the tour guide. I help them access the deeper mind and that deeper part of themselves, so they can do the healing. I'm not doing the work, they're doing the work.
Well, it's interesting, the science around using language, metaphoric language. It's said that in any conversation we could have like 20 metaphors that we're using. You know, he makes me so mad I could just turn red. I mean, and it's so beautiful when they are using these metaphors, and then you break them down to them being able to have that feeling experience of what it is they're using as that metaphor. I remember one time I was working with someone, and they were talking about their relationship, and the relationship was about a wall. They were out in, they called it the desert, and they saw this wall, and this husband was standing there saying, "If you love me, you'll climb this wall." And I asked this person what her wall looked like, and she said, "Well, it sure has a lot of obstacles." And I said, "Well, what are the obstacles?" And she was saying there's sharp objects, things protruding out. And I said, "Well, you know, do you feel that if you climbed this wall that you would be hurt?" And she said, "Well, definitely this would be difficult to climb." And I said, "Well, what other choice do you have?" And she said, "Well, I could walk around it." Well, when she walked around it, she realized that she could have climbed that wall, continued the relationship, and gone through a lot more pain because he was a controller. And when she got on the top, she saw the death of the relationship on the other side, where in her vision, she chose to go around the wall and could still see that she didn't have to climb it, and that on the other side of it, it represented what she already knew.
Right.
Yeah.
She just wasn't conscious of it totally.
She had to see it in a symbolic language.
And that's why I decided to call my business A New Perspective, because that's what it's all about. It's about perceiving it in a new way. And so through that experience, it was just as real for her as if she had really done that, and she had a new experience.
Well, I think it's exciting when a client comes and they're open and they're excited. I mean, if they're afraid, then of course you have to sit there and have dialogue and get them to the point for the trust. But the best is when they come and they're ready to have this grand adventure, because it is an extraordinary adventure for the client, but also for the therapist, because you've never had the experience before, correct?
It's always different.
It's always different, yeah. Okay, so what are some of the benefits? Are they permanent?
Well, my experience is that if they haven't dealt with the core issue, if we haven't really gotten down to the root cause, it's kind of like layers of an onion.
Yes.
And we've, accomplished some, but it may take a few more.
Yeah.
Or sometimes, like I said, like the domino effect, if you can really get down to that root cause, it can collapse so much and then just open you up, and then yes, it is permanent.
Can you give us a little bit of an example? We're using words timeline. It's about going back into time, specific events. But can you give us a little bit of an example of somebody that stands out in your mind that basically you could kind of condense it, that shows a timeline so our audience understands how it's possible to be working as a therapist, working with those timelines?
The timeline of working with a client,
yes,
you mean?
Going to the past.
Okay, going to the past. Okay, so when I'm doing the timeline process, they move into a deep relaxation through me guiding them to relax their body, connecting to their breath.
Right.
And the more they relax their body, then the deeper they'll go. And once I get them to a light trance, I don't have to move them into a deep hypnosis for timeline, because I want them to respond to me. So not just through lifting a finger. I want them to verbally, when I do timeline, communicate with me and let me know what's going on. And then I just have them move into what's like a bird's eye view, where they're able to perceive their life but not relive it, so it's not traumatic.
Observation.
Right, observe it. And I let them know that if at any time the feelings are too strong for them, that I can quickly move them out of it so that they're not even feeling it at that level. And then, but they are aware and conscious of so much more than they understand. And then the subconscious mind will take them to a memory or an image that's related to that issue.
Right.
And then
it
I work
bridges,
with them.
doesn't it? And the beauty of having them observe, this is my opinion, is that they've already had the pain. And if it were me, I would like to observe it and understand it. And a good therapist can help in getting you to feel it in a way that doesn't, slam you up against the wall or throw you on the floor. Because a lot of people are afraid, who've had some form of abuse in their life, that they're going to have to completely relive that again. And I think that you're looking for resources through the observation. So I'm glad that you're doing that kind of therapy.
Thank you. And the other part that you reminded me of is that the philosophy that I work with is that everything that's happened in our life is for a purpose, and that we can either become a victim by it and let it run us, or we can heal it and be empowered and learn and grow from it.
Well, it's interesting, Robin, I lately especially, I've been telling people about doing an introspection, and they look at me like, what are you talking about, an introspection? And then I have to break it down a little bit more by asking them to do a sort of a timeline for themselves and go back and journey and go back as far as you can remember and start journaling from the inner child. What does the little kid have to say about this incident when you were 3 or this incident when you were 7, so that they can start pulling some experiences for themselves up to the surface, so they can do some of their own exploration. Because in life we have all these patterns that were established by the time we're at least 7 years old. We've got all these patterns that were established from our relationship with mostly our parents. You can have outer relatives involved, or brothers and sisters, but those are so deeply ingrained in the deep subconscious that they can do some homework on this themselves and empower themselves through some of that. And do you encourage them to do journaling?
Yes. Yeah, I think journaling's important.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
It's because it can just open up a whole new world for someone. And they can do it through using a spiritual guide, or they can use it through their inner child. I think most people would prefer to start out with a guardian angel that they're talking to. But once they do that introspection, accessing that inner child part, there's a lot they can find out very quickly about how they really feel about something.
And they can even dialogue with her or him.
Yeah. Now, Robin, when you've been working with people dealing with health issues, do you use hypnosis in a way that you're able to tap into the different organs where the client can actually talk about what emotions they're holding in the different organs?
Well, I'll have them scan their own body,
Yeah.
and see what's going on. And what's really incredible is that they can
It
describe to you what it looks like, and from that, in that state, they can tell you what's going on and what they need to do to heal it. Quite often, we'll go in and have them do the healing work on that area of the body, because their inner wisdom tells them what needs to be done. I mean, they have the clarity of what needs to be done. But also finding out what's the purpose. Why is this in your life? Why is your body doing this? What's it trying to tell you? Because the body's so connected to the subconscious mind.
Right.
So it really is speaking to us. So,
you know, the beauty of that is that they're building their self-esteem by being able to experience that all the answers are really inside of them, and it's really about asking the right questions. So with a good therapist, she or he is going to know the right questions to ask to continue to deepening the questioning to where they really get to the resource and they have those answers. Now, I really believe that the body stores energy from past lifetimes. I believe it stores energy from your womb experience, and I know that a lot of people have had regression where they've actually gone back to be rebirthed through the womb experience. And I think that that is a very powerful therapy if there's something that is blocking somebody, especially around this area.
well, I sometimes will feel guided to take them back to the womb.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll ask what's going on. What are they feeling? What are they feeling their mother's feeling? They'll know exactly what was going on for their father and their mother.
Yes.
Whether they felt safe.
Isn't that amazing?
What decisions they made about themselves in life.
They will know if they were wanted.
Right.
They will know if the mother or the father wanted a boy versus a girl. They will know if there was a twin that didn't make it. I mean, the level of knowledge that they're able to find for themselves is more empowering than actually psychically somebody sitting there and telling them this, because there is this deep knowing and feeling that's involved in that experience. And it's why I started, well, not started, but that's why I went from just doing intuitive readings and using my mediumship. That's what drew me to go in to become a hypnotherapist, because I realized that just giving them the answers, you know, there were validations, body chills, all of that happens, but it was more personal and more intimate when they could actually have this empowerment and actually have the affirmation in this way. So,
Because they're experiencing it.
because it's theirs.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, everybody's experience is their
Right.
experience. There's never going to be a duplication. Haven't you found that?
That's right.
There's parallels,
Similarities.
similarities, but there's never a duplication. Why? Because we are
Because we're so individual, you know.
Well, I like to say that we're a unique vibration. You know, we're here in our cosmic spacesuits, and we have this unique vibration, and I believe it's how God and the angels find us. And when we're going through hypnosis and we're taken down into those deeper layers of relaxation, there is a warehouse of opportunity for them to also discover skills they don't even know that they have. I love that part. It's to take them into places where they didn't know that they could write. They didn't know that they were an artist. They may not know that they had other abilities. And they are bringing that up in their more of a conscious mind. And when it's all over with, they'll start laughing, going, "I never knew that was within me." You know, I thought that belonged to my mom, or that gift belonged to my dad. So
they bring it back with them.
they bring it back with them. Yeah.